Good news, Bengals fans. Joe is back at quarterback. I'm sorry, that's Joe Flacco, not Joe Burrow. But a fascinating twist nonetheless in Cincinnati's season. We will tell you how today's stunning trade went down and what it means for the Browns' rookie quarterbacks as well. The 49ers season has certainly taken some turns. Not many better than when Kendrick Bourne returned to the Bay. KB with us on the show tonight to talk about what's going right for the offense and his old pal Mac Jones ahead of a big trip to Tampa. Were you rooting like crazy for 52 yards last night from Isaiah Pacheco? Just me? Okay, you never know. Who's going to help you off the fantasy waiver wire unless you listen to Michael F. Florio, who is back here tonight with all your Week 6 goodies. Welcome inside with the Insiders, presented by Progressive Insurance. Alongside Judy Batista and Mike Garafolo, I am Tom Pelissero. Week 5 officially in the books. And if today was any indication, Week 6 might be very, very interesting. We begin in the great state of Ohio, where for the first time in a long time, the Bengals and Browns have made a trade. Joe Flacco headed to Cincinnati as part of a deal that also includes the team swapping 5th and 6th round picks in the 2026 draft. The Bengals canvassed the league for options over the last 48 hours, with Jake Browning continuing to struggle in his third consecutive loss since replacing an injured Burrow. Mike, why Flacco and why now for the Bengals?
Tom, because we saw him do it for an AFC North team that wears orange in the state of Ohio before, and it's a situation where you need somebody really just to kind of keep you afloat in season and learn things quickly, learn things on the fly. I remember being there in Cleveland and talking to them, to the folks there, the coaching staff, the personnel staff. They said, Joe Flacco's been around and seen literally everything when it comes to an NFL offense. There is nothing that you could introduce that he hasn't seen before, hasn't had experience with before. So the Bengals need a quick study because they've got to get somebody going quickly here, even if it is Jake Browning for one more week, to these playmakers. And Joe Flacco has done that before, can do that, can throw the football down the field. That's a big part of Cincinnati's offense. They need that to happen again. You talked about them canvassing the league. There was no
side to play this with Flacco and Jake Browning moving forward, but the team he leaves behind in Cleveland really cleared up quickly some of those questions about how their depth chart is stacked up.
Right. First of all, I think if the Browns thought they were giving the Cincinnati Bengals any air, they maybe wouldn't have made this deal quite so quickly. So that maybe tells you what they think Joe Flacco has left. Obviously, Flacco was no longer part of the Browns' plans. The most intriguing piece of this, of course, is that this moves Shedeur Sanders up into the number 2 spot, unless there is another card to be played that hasn't been played yet and they do something different at the backup position. But Shedeur Sanders, 48 hours ago, they didn't think was ready enough to be the backup quarterback. So things have shifted dramatically. Now, this is good for the Browns because this entire season is about evaluating these rookie quarterbacks. They have to know if they have to draft a quarterback in the first round. They've got 2 first-round picks in 2026. They need to know if they need to draft a quarterback. This now positions Shedeur Sanders to get on the field probably much more quickly than we anticipated. Again, last week, the feeling around the Browns was that Shedeur still had a pretty big learning curve, still had a lot of development before he would go on the field, and that it would be much later in the season before we would see Shedeur Sanders. Well, now he's literally going to be one play away. They saw a lot of good stuff from Dylan Gabriel in his debut, but this has certainly changed the timeline for Shedeur Sanders and accelerated it dramatically.
The Browns make tons of trades, even quarterback trades. In this offseason alone, they traded for Kenny Pickett, traded away Kenny Pickett, now trade away Joe Flacco. The Bengals don't. They don't make deals. This is only the 3rd time since 1973 that the Bengals have actually acquired a player in a trade during the season, certainly getting out of their comfort zone, trying to keep this thing afloat with the possibility the other Joe, Burrow, first time he's ever been referred to as that, potentially could be back down the stretch. The Ravens apparently felt left out because they also made a deal earlier today in a trade with the Chargers, a classic Harbaugh to Harbaugh move. Kind of like Anquan Bolden once upon a time. This deal sending Odafe Owe, their former first-round pick, to L.A. in exchange for Alohi Gilman, the safety. They also pick up a 2026 fifth-round pick as part of a pick swap in that deal. Chargers needed some pass rush help after Khalil Mack's injury. The Ravens need just anybody healthy to help, particularly on the back end. They also signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the practice squad earlier today. Could see C.J. G.J. up sooner than later. Some good news for the Lions on the injury front after a second opinion on their cornerback, Terrion Arnold. His shoulder injury that he's been dealing with for a while, not as bad as initially feared. It was feared this was a season-ending type of an injury, but after further medical evaluation, does not even sound like he's going to go on injured reserve. He is expected back this season, does not need surgery. That is great news for Detroit and its defense. Running back Joe Mixon's timetable in Houston remains in flux, to say the least. GM Nick Caserio said today that he's making progress, but still not for another 3 to 4 weeks will they have more information about whether or not Mixon plays at all in 2025. Continues to be cryptic surrounding the status of Mixon, who suffered an injury during the course of the offseason, has not played this year, opening up some opportunities for the likes of Nick Chubb and younger running backs in Houston. In other news, Jerry Jones' one finger cost him $250,000. Jerry flew the bird at some fans on Sunday. He said he was trying to give a thumbs up and accidentally gave the middle finger instead, which is what I say when I want to de-escalate road rage situations. Sounds like Jerry Jones will appeal this fine. Has not done so yet. He has until Friday to do so. One other note, free agent wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. officially accepting a 6-game suspension today related to a positive performance-enhancing drug test last season when he was in Miami. This had been going through the process of appeals for several months now. Only now did Odell Beckham Jr. decide to accept that suspension. So the clock began ticking once it appeared on the wire today. Odell still intends to play, Mike, but won't be eligible to do so till week 12.
Monday Night Football, Jaguars, Chiefs. Trevor Lawrence, happy birthday. Our guy Dante Koplowitz Fleming after the game posted that 2 players have had multiple rushing touchdowns on Monday Night Football on their birthday. Trevor Lawrence and Bo Jackson at 87. Spoiler alert. We'll get to that second one in a second. Here is Devin Lloyd, 99 yards. The September AFC Defensive Player of the Month says, I won October too. What a season he's having in a contract year. Lots of dough coming his way eventually if he keeps this up. Mahomes didn't see him. Got to see him. You always got to find where Devin Lloyd is. All right, anyway, Kareem Hunt late goes in. I thought maybe the Chiefs should burn a little bit more clock there, but at some point you just got to get the touchdown. The Chiefs take the lead. Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence say, what do you like here on this menu to get us into the end zone? How about the fall down twice, get up, jump over guys, don't throw the ball away play? Touchdown, Jaguars! What a thrilling game. What a thrilling play. Liam Cohen's reactions were unbelievable. The Jaguars are 4-1. Here's Trevor Lawrence and Patrick Mahomes after the game.
So, I just panic, honestly, because I was trying to get up to get the ball out of my hands. The clock, we didn't have any timeouts. So I was really going to just stand up and, launch it out of the back of the end zone. But then I had a little bit of a lane, so I took it and, scored from there.
It sucks, you let a game slip away. Credit to them. They played hard. They played hard the entire game, and they got a lot of good football players. And they closed out there at the end, and so it still sucks whenever you get a lead like that and you're not able to hold it through the rest of the game.
Cameron Wolf, who was at that game, and Brian Baldinger now joining us. I remember Patrick Mahomes after the pick 6 to Devin Lloyd gave it a couple of these. It was like, the tip of the hat. You got me. You showed pressure. You backed out. What a play by Devin Lloyd. Cam, you were there for that. Let's talk about this Jaguars defensive turnaround. Anthony Campanelli, the defensive coordinator, has done a fantastic job, and he's put Devin Lloyd in a position to make plays.
Yeah, Mike, one of the most interesting post-game moments for me, I went to about 10 different guys in the Jaguars locker room. Every single one raved about Devin Lloyd and his impact. And Josh Hines-Allen asked me, why isn't he the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year? And I don't have an answer. He may be. Devin Lloyd may be the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year because of how he is playing. And it's been an incredible turnaround because this time last year, some people thought he was a question mark because of the high ranking as a first-round pick, hadn't quite lived up to it yet. I talked talked to him in the locker room about that. He said, my goals have always been All-Pro, Pro Bowl, Defensive Player of the Year. But this year, I locked into them at a different level. I got with the right coaches, the right scheme. Anthony Campanelli, as you mentioned, their defensive coordinator, their linebacker coach, Tim Lukubu. They have helped unlock me to the next level. And yes, he is playing fast and free. And this whole defense has. They really wanted to take the respect from the Chiefs. That's the thing they told me all week. They said, we know people think this is a fake NFL leading turnover team, a fake 3-1 team, but we're going to take their respect. And they certainly did that last night with their play defensively. They play violent, they play aggressive, and thanks to Devin Lloyd, they have 99-yard pick sixes, take it to the house. One thing I thought was interesting, Josh Hines-Allen has been there since 2019. I asked him, where does this rank as regular season wins for you? He said, number one. Nothing has been more important as what this meant to us and this franchise going forward.
More Jaguars in primetime. More Jaguars on Monday night, Sunday Night Football. They earned it after that performance. Baldy, I don't think the Chiefs played terribly. And I think we're seeing spurts, and maybe we'll see spurts until Rashee Rice gets back, and then they really hit their stride offensively. But they did some nice things on both sides of the ball. But they're sitting here at 2-3, extremely frustrated. What do you do if you're Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, Steve Spagnuolo right now?
Well, you keep doing what they've always done, and you just keep going to work. But, I mean, they had almost 500 yards of offense. It's right up there on your screen. Since Xavier Worthy came back 2 weeks ago, this offense has exploded. They scored 4 touchdowns last night. Obviously, they didn't get the one where Devin Lloyd made the play. But, I mean, they move the football consistently. That was an issue last year. Could they do it? The speed they have between Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and Tyquan Thornton, who had 3 catches for 90 yards last night, it's only going to get better when Rashee comes back. You're seeing, a healthy Travis Kelce making a lot of plays right now. They probably don't need Patrick Mahomes to be their leading rusher, so they could improve the running game. But, they've got a young left side of the offensive line. That Josh Simmons just keeps getting better. He had a good night last night. It gets lost in the loss. But, that young left side that they're counting on, they're going to be much better players a month from now. But you cannot write off the Chiefs. You can't write off Patrick Mahomes. The record is what it is. But they can come out of this because they've got the talent to do it. Look, that was a great drive by Trevor Lawrence. They made a big play down the field to Brian Thomas Jr. It was well covered by Jalen Watson. The throw and the catch, beat the coverage. But they still know how to blitz a quarterback, get to a quarterback, frustrate a quarterback, all those things. I think there's a lot of football to be left for the Kansas City Chiefs.
There's no doubt about that. And, there's a lot of pride there. There's a lot of experience there. Maybe they're not going to be the number 1 seed with home field advantage, but it's certainly not a team you want to see coming into your building in this postseason, especially if they get all these pieces to start to fit together and get Rashee Rice back. Cam, Trevor Lawrence, the play where he had a rusher bearing down on him, a huge play there late in the game. That throw was just perfect. Again, the Chiefs had it really well defended, but that shows you the trust that he has in his receivers. What are you hearing when you're talking to those guys after the game?
Yeah, Mike, we all talked about the Stumble-Ruski touchdown, but you hit it on the nose. It's one of Trevor Lawrence's best drives he's had. Those throws to Brian Thomas Jr. and also one of De'Ami Brown, on point, in money, in control. And what's so interesting about this Jaguars team at 4-1, there's so much more room for growth. I talked to Travis Hunter after the game. He had that big play, finally exploded for that deep ball down the field. He said, we practiced that play 13 times during the week, and it took the 13th time for us to actually connect with it. And that's been the semblance of this offense. There's been a lot of times talking to people there that Travis Hunter has been open on deep over routes and seam routes, and they just haven't hit him yet. And it's a balance for Trevor Lawrence because they're telling him to go through his progressions, to get rid of the ball quickly, to protect himself. And because of that, they haven't quite hit those deep balls yet. They think as the season goes on, he'll get more comfortable trusting that he can take his time and hit Travis Hunter with those balls. And you're going to see more of those deep plays down the field. And they think that's going to unlock that next level of this Jaguars offense. So there's plenty of excitement for Jacksonville going forward because they don't think they've hit their peak yet. And for people who doubted why maybe they drafted Travis Hunter, look at what he did last night. That big catch we talked about, but also covered Xavier Worthy at times, covered Travis Kelce at times, and showed his potential as a game-changing weapon for this offense.
No doubt about it. Looking forward to seeing more from him on both sides of the football. One tough little Bit of news for the Jaguars. Brenton Strange, the tight end, placed on injured reserve today. Expected to miss about a month, but not a season ender for a guy who is really an up-and-coming target for Trevor Lawrence. Cam, Baldy, appreciate you both. The Jaguars are headed to London soon, but not this week. It is the Broncos and the Jets. It's their turn. The International Series continuing in London. Presented by NetApp. Bo Nix and the Broncos versus Sauce Gardner and the Jets Sunday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network. I think that's 7:30 a.m. Mountain Time, so get up early out there in Denver. Only on NFL Network and streaming with NFL Plus. Subscription required for NFL Plus. Visit plus.nfl.com for terms. Read them all. Shane Steichen, Todd Bowles, a couple of guys that are on Jeffrey
It is a good time to be a San Francisco 49er. A good time to be Kendrick Bourne joins us right now on the Insiders.
We're always a believer in Kendrick Bourne, especially after his performance against the Rams. He joins us next here on the Insiders. Kendrick.
What's up, Tom? It's been great, man. It's been great. I just want to thank God, man, for everything he's done in my life, man. That game was all of him, man. It's just been an honor. But it's been fun, man, being back with my guys, Kyle, John, man, some of the former teammates that I've been with, a lot of new guys, but just learning as I go, man, building new relationships. But it's been really fun, man, as you guys can see in my energy and just how I feel, how I'm playing and everything, man. So it's been fun.
So, let's recap the last couple of months here, because you're a little bit banged up, right, through the course of training camp. We don't see a ton on the field. You almost get traded, maybe to Minnesota. You make the roster, then you end up being released from the roster. You're a free agent for the first time. You end up back in San Francisco, and now because everybody's hurt, you get your opportunity, and you're taking advantage of. Just what's this roller coaster couple of months been like for you?
Yeah, man. Just taking it back to God. I think he has me in a space of unknown. He just wants me to take action, and getting released was a first experience for me, something new. But adversity builds a lot, man. You know what I'm saying? There's growth in adversity, and I think that's what I was going through. So to be let go, I was just like, okay, what's next? What's going to happen? And it all happened so fast. And then had some visits, man. Had a visit here. Felt really great. And it was all just happening so fast. So I had to make a quick decision. And just thinking about my family, thinking about the right decision, thinking about the history of I've been here, things like that. It all happened fast. And making a decision, man, was it pretty easy, and being back has just been fun. So learning through the hardships, learning through being uncomfortable, trying to get comfortable being uncomfortable, got me to right here where I'm at right now, man. And that game was just awesome, man. These last few weeks have been awesome. And so just trusting God's plan, man, and taking it day by day, you get the result, man. So just believing in yourself and going every day, never quitting, and you get the result from that. So I think that's what's been happening.
So when you sign on, you're thinking, all right, I got to microwave this chemistry with Brock Purdy. I haven't caught balls from him before. And then obviously Brock gets banged up. Now you're catching balls from a guy who you know really well, Mac Jones, because of how you go back to New England with him. What are you seeing right now in Mac and the way that he's played under not ideal circumstances in these 3 starts he's made?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. You know, you never know when the opportunity is going to present itself. You never know what's going to happen. You just got to be prepared. And I think that's kind of what's happened between both of us, kind of just to your last question. I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know what it's going to look like, but just being prepared mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, everything in every aspect. And you have the opportunity and you're ready for it. You're ready to seize the moment. So I think that's what he's doing right now, you know, stepping in his role. Obviously, what you just asked me last time too, just that opportunity presented itself and I was ready for it. That's all it is. So anybody listening, any young guy, you know, when you have that chance, you know, be prepared, be ready. And I think when you're equipped, and God has got me equipped plenty, and I'm showing it, and Mac is showing it too. So it's just been fun. I'm seeing him in this space, and I'm happy for him, man. And so just to be a part of it is even a blessing in itself. So pray he keeps going, man, and we can keep doing it, helping the team, helping the organization, do what we're supposed to do.
So when you've got this many moving parts in terms of injuries at quarterback, at wide receiver, obviously your defense has been banged up as well. Do you know, like sitting here on a Tuesday, do you even know who's going to be on the field? Are you getting guys back? Is Purdy back? Like, where do you stand out there right now?
Yeah, man. Every week is different. Every day is different. You know, some days you feel good. Some days you feel, I don't know. So it's just a day-by-day thing. It's a week-by-week league. And so you just got to be ready. I think that's what we're doing a great job of as a team, it's being prepared for who's next. And I always say it, man, shout out Kyle and John. We have depth on the team, and it's super important for the success of a team. And that's what I'm learning as I've been in the league for quite a while now. You know, you need depth. You need people to have experience, and it's just different. So you have younger guys, and they need to develop, but you also have vets in the room that has been through it. And I think it's super important. I think that's been one of our strengths on this team right now. So we're trying to, keep getting healthy, rebuild that firepower for these next few weeks, man. We got, some tough weeks coming up and just being prepared. But I think the depth is our strength right now.
So improbably, you guys are sitting there at 4-1, despite everything you've been through. You're going up against the Buccaneers team this week that's also 4-1 and also has had to overcome a lot. They're scoring a lot of points. They're also giving up a lot of points. When you watch these guys on tape, what are you seeing and how do you get after them this week?
Yeah, man, defense is really good, man. They're really sound. I think just executing as an offense is really important. Playing above the sticks, ahead of the sticks, I think we did a good job of that last week. So, not playing from behind, trying to have control of the game is always important. And their offense is really good, man. They're cooking. Baker Mayfield, he never quits. No quit in his blood at all. The young rookie over there going crazy, man. It's been awesome to see. So great competition for us, man. Great test for us. Going over there might be a little hot. I've been living in Tampa now, so I might be a little used to it. We got a lot of guys that are from Florida and stuff. So it's just exciting to go to a different environment. New time for the game too and stuff like that. So they stirring it up. It's getting exciting, but that's what you want. You know what I'm saying? You want to be on the top stage. I think we're preparing well. So just getting ready this week, resting up now, and just ready to go to war.
Kendrick, always a pleasure talking with you, man. Great to see a smile on your face. Great to see you making plays out there. Let's do this again, man. Keep it rolling.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you guys.
The 49ers are making believers out of a lot of people against all odds, but who is making our guy Jeffrey Chadia a believer? Jeffrey's got the breakdown right after this. There's a new Joe in Cincinnati. Joe Flacco traded today from the Browns to the Bengals. The teams will swap late-round picks in the 2026 draft. The Browns cleared the decks for the rookie quarterback to take over the depth chart, while the Bengals suddenly have a 40-year-old QB who potentially could be out there as soon as this week against the Packers as they try to turn things around and keep the season alive for a possible Joe Burrow return late. Welcome back to the Insiders, presented by Progressive Insurance. Tom Pelissero, joined by Brian Baldinger and Mark Ross. Mark, I'll start off with you. You've seen a lot of trades through the years, not a lot of intra-division quarterback trades, I would imagine. What did you make of this?
Well, this just shows you the sad state within the AFC North and really the sad state of quarterback play in the NFL right now. Look, we hear about draft boards in college, but during the season, teams have boards as well, free agent or trade boards as well, where you stack your players. And for the Bengals to have Joe Flacco as their number one target on their draft board, especially after playing him in week one and being in the division, so you know so much about him, it just shows you there really isn't much out there. And the problem with Joe Flacco at this point, Baldy, is just he can't hold on to the ball anymore. Forget the knowledge and downfield throwing. He's just a turnover machine at this point.
Well, that's what Jake Browning is, though, and so I watched him live in Cincinnati on Sunday, and he was awful. And the problem, though, Mark, is that, when I talked to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins before the game, their attitude is good, but it starts to drain when you get 5 catches for a total of 38 yards and 3 interceptions through the first 3 quarters, and you're out of the game and the crowd is leaving for the parking lots. They got to do something better than what they have right now. I think Joe Flacco is a better option right now than Jake Browning. He's played Green Bay. They got a 3-game homestand after this game to Green Bay. I'd put him in there before I'd play Jake Browning. They could have beaten, Cincinnati could have beaten Cleveland could have beaten Cincinnati week 1 if their receivers could have caught Joe Flacco's balls. So I would say Jamar Chase and T. Higgins be a little happier with Joe throwing it to him right now.
Well, Joe Flacco certainly has better receivers in Cincinnati than what he was working with in Cleveland. Have to avoid the arm punts, and certainly, Judy, also work around some good coverage.
Very nice segue, Tom. It is time now for Good Coverage, presented by Progressive Insurance. Saints cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry, who has one of the best names in the NFL, also had some good coverage in Week 5. 2 interceptions, those were the first of his career, helped the Saints pick up their first win of the season over the Giants. That is your Good Coverage, presented by Progressive Insurance. And now let's welcome in my guys, Jeffrey Chadilla and Mark Ross, just slid over into this segment too, and we're going to talk about who has made Jeffrey a believer coming out of Week 5. All right, let's start with the quarterbacks. Who you got, Jeffrey?
I got a couple guys, Judy, and one is, well, being a New York native, Sam Darnold in Seattle. I was very skeptical how this was going to work without him having all those weapons in Minnesota and that great defense, but he looks great so far. He looked great on Sunday in that loss. Yeah, he had a tough interception, but 341 passing yards, and it looks like he's got the job done. Clint Kubiak there as his offensive coordinator. And then Drake May has really blown up in the last couple of weeks here. You saw what he did against Buffalo in that huge win. You've seen the potential before, but the ability to make plays off script within the structure of the offense, I love where he is going as well, Mark.
Great choices there, Jeffrey. I'm going to go with a guy who's been around a long time, had a lot of production, and that's Dak Prescott at Dallas. And Dak always has been a machine during the regular games and all, but when the level of competition stepped up, I always thought he had some issues. Really didn't raise the level of his team. Well, this year, I've never seen Dak play better, has really raised the level of that offense. I thought once CeeDee Lamb went down, this offense would really stall out. Dak is on fire. He is playing with such confidence and poise and playmaking right now. Second in the league in yards, third in touchdown passes. The Dallas offense is number 1 in yards and number 4 in points per game. And he really is just taking it to another level at this point in his career. Unbelievable.
All right, Jeffrey, you've also got some head coaches on the list.
Yeah, Shane Steichen. And I know Daniel Jones is the big story in Indianapolis. I know he's not Mark's favorite guy. Mark's not a believer in Daniel Jones yet, but I believe in what Shane Steichen has done with him and where this is going, because Shane Steichen has done great things with this team. Not just Daniel Jones, but the run game with Jonathan Taylor. What his defense is playing, they're giving up 18 points a game so far. They're real contenders in the AFC South at 4-1. And I just believe that Shane Steichen, the work he's done with Daniel Jones, he's got to be in the AFC Coach of the Year, NFL Coach of the Year discussion already, Mark.
Great choice. Always just seems to be perennially underrated. Doesn't get the credit he deserves. 3 NFC South championships already. He's 4-1 again, leading the division. Going to run away with that division. Has overcome all of these injuries to big stars like Mike Evans. Baker Mayfield has been in every game. The comeback mentality that they have is really a testament to Todd Bowles and putting that winning attitude. Culture is overrated. It's putting a winning mindset on a team, and the Bucs have really shown that. 4-1 and had a chance to beat the Eagles as well. So give it up to Todd Bowles.
That's right. Give some respect to Todd Bowles. All right, you've also got John Morton on your list, Jeffrey. Why?
I do, because so much talk about what Ben Johnson's departure is going to mean to this offense in Detroit, and I know the schedule hasn't been that tough, but after that season opening loss to Green Bay, they've been rolling ever since. 40 points a game. He's got tons of weapons to work with there, and you see that, okay, Ben Johnson's gone, but this offense is still humming. That offensive line, they had, 3 new players at different positions there. They've worked that out, and this team, again, probably the best team in the league right now, Mark.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I could have put Kelvin Shepard, the D coordinator, on there, and even head coach Dan Campbell as well. But I'm going to go to the GM side, the personnel side. And Andrew Berry, the much maligned GM of the Browns because of some of those decisions. But his rookie class is absolutely fantastic with Mason Graham and Carson Schlesinger and Quinshawn Judkins and Hal Fannin Jr. Now Dylan Gabriel's playing, even Dylan Sampson, and an undrafted free agent defensive tackle, Aiden Huntington, is in there making plays. So they've got a foundation, and you could say, well, they're all playing because the team is bad, but they're playing well. They're not just playing. So give it up to Andrew Berry, the GM of the Browns.
Those rookies all looked good last week, guys. Thank you very much. For more on Jeffrey's thoughts, narrative shifts, and otherwise, NFL.com/first-read. You should be reading it every week. And when we return, Michael F. Florio joins the show. Fantasy waiver wire suggestion.
My fantasy football drafts are generally a mixed bag, but if I had a fantasy basketball draft of fantasy football analysts based solely on social media, I think I might take Michael F. Florio, number 1 overall. Look at the cardio, the back and forth there, hitting the Jays from the corner. That's just one of his many talents. Time now to go inside with NFL Fantasy Live. Tom Pelissero, Mike Garafolo, and the aforementioned Michael F. Florio. He's off the court. He put on a nice shirt. He's with us right now. Okay, waiver wire time, week 6. There's a lot of leagues now, Michael F., that use free agent acquisition budgets, right? Fabs, whatever you want to call it. How in are you going this week on Rico Dowdle after that huge day?
I'm going in, but not super in, only because Chuba Hubbard still lose. But I think if you really need a running back, something like 15 to 20%. If you're not in that boat, maybe a little bit less than that. But Dowdle, hopefully you watched Fantasy Live last week because we were talking him up. He ran for the 5th most yards of any player in the last 5 seasons. He was the fantasy RB1. He won the angry run scepter. And this is the ultimate revenge game this week against the Cowboys team that cannot stop the run. If Chuba is out this week, Rico is an absolute must play. Even if Chuba's back, I think Rico is in the flex range.
All right, look, this is the number 1 question in all of fantasy football from guys who have a Marion Hampton and guys who don't but want to try to get to the waiver wire before the guys that do. With Hampton out for 4 weeks, Hassan Haskins, Kamani Vidal, which way are you going in the great Charger debate of 25?
I'm pushing my chips in on Kamani Vidal. After Hampton was injured last week, the two of them did split work. But last season, when J.K. Dobbins missed time, Gus Edwards was their lead back, but Vidal played over Haskins. He saw more groundwork, and more than anything, he was utilized in the passing game, and that is really valuable for fantasy. Plus, he led his draft class in missed tackles forced when he came out just a year ago. So on a good offense, tied to a good quarterback team that likes to run. But I'll say this, I'm putting Haskins in as my backup bids just in case I get outbid on Kamani Vidal.
Hassan Haskins will always remind me of a couple of years ago when Derrick Henry was one of the leading point scorers in the league and then was out fantasy championship week. I had to pick up either Haskins or Julius Chestnut, had to choose one of them. The answer was neither. Didn't really work out all that great. All right, Arizona's also got a running back situation that is super in flux right now, Michael.
Who is surprising to me, he was the top targeted running back for the Cardinals last week, finished with 18 fantasy points and was a top 10 fantasy running back on the week. And then you might have heard something else happen to another Arizona running back that might mean we get even more Michael Carter moving forward. Trey Benson's out at least another 3 weeks, so that makes Carter a startable fantasy option during that stretch. Plus, Trey Benson was a backup himself, so if Michael Carter continues to perform at a high level, there's no reason he can't at least carve out a role for himself, maybe even be the lead back after Benson returns.
All right, let's talk Mason Taylor, the Jets rookie tight end. Slowly, like a slow, steady drum beat here for Mason Taylor. You advise picking him up?
Yeah, I advised last week to try to get him, but if he's still available in your league, I think you need to pick him up. A team-high 12 targets last week, 19 targets in the last 2. He is the number 2 target for Justin Fields now behind Garrett Wilson. And the thing is, the Jets are in catch-up mode often, and defenses know Garrett Wilson is the one, so they give him the most attention. So when the Jets are in catch-up mode, it's just a lot of short, underneath, move the sticks kind of passes to Mason Taylor, but those add up, especially in PPR leagues. I think he is someone that you can pick up and even start this week. And if you miss out on those names, here's a whole bunch more, including Kendrick Bourne, who I just watched talking to you, Tom. So go add him in fantasy leagues as well.
How about that? Synergy on the Insiders tonight from Michael F. Florio. We will see you next week, buddy. Thank you very much. Go get back in the gym. Still more to come on this episode of the Insiders, including some surprising teams. You got Kendrick Bourne's old team, the Patriots. How about the Jaguars laying it on the Chiefs late last night? And the red-hot Colts, Mark Ross, Brian Baldinger back. Talk about all those teams and more